Aloha, I'm Stan Cox, Principal Broker and Strategist with SC Finance Strategies and Insurance Consultants. I'm also the author of the books on the tax-free cash growth warehouse strategy, and I'm the managing director of the Hawaii Financial Freethinkers Academy, a nonprofit financial literacy organization. My career in the financial industry has been focused on finance strategies and primarily on the infinite banking concept and strategy. One question that invariably comes up when a client learns about infinite banking and the tax-free cash growth warehouse strategy is, why haven't I ever heard about this before now? And, that is a very frustrating question, especially since at least the fundamental basics of the strategy has been in use for some 2 centuries now. Having done a good deal of research on all aspects of the infinite banking concept, here is what I've concluded to be the answer to this most frustrating question. First, the strategy had to be developed into an actual strategy. Because you see, at first, it was simply a matter of accumulating cash value in a whole life policy and then borrowing against that cash value. And the beauty of leveraging your cash value rather than borrowing from a bank was and is that your cash value would continue to earn compounding dividend interest, where borrowing from a bank would cost you interest and fees. And the idea of borrowing your own money seems to elicit a negative response from a lot of people. Never mind that the positive interest arbitrage results in no cost to you and even a continued gain. So way back in the beginning, the basic strategy, it wasn't really formulated into a strategy per se. And therefore, it wasn't easy to promote or even to convey. Now, many financially brilliant people throughout history did figure it out and actually teach it to their heirs. The Rockefellers, Vanderbilts, Carnegies come to mind. More recent history includes J.C. Penney, Ray Kroc, the Kennedys, and many more. Finally, in the early 1990s, Nelson Nash quantified the concept in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker, The Infinite Banking Concept. And still, practically no one latched onto it and began teaching it. It's true that today there are a number of agencies and agents now promoting the strategy, but they remain in the smallest minority. And here's a couple of problems associated with those who do utilize and promote the strategy. One is most agents have no idea how to properly design a policy to grow cash value at an accelerated rate and make it available to the client to leverage for the strategy. Another is that properly designing a policy for the strategy requires that the highest commissionable part of the policy is the smallest portion, and the parts that make up the greatest portion of the policy provide the smallest commissions possible. And that means that when an agent properly designs a policy for infinite banking, they actually cut their own income by 50 to 75%. Most agents are loath to cut their income for the benefit of others or for any reason at all. Another problem is that many of the agencies that do specialize in working with infinite banking actually charge agents a fee to teach them how to properly design a policy. So the agents have to pay to learn how to cut their own income in half or more. How many people do you know who would be willing to do that? So There is the situation that primarily, even if it were widely known how to design a policy and utilize the strategy for maximum benefit, very few agents would get on board to teach the strategy and sell policies designed for it and that severely cut their own income. As a result, infinite banking remains an obscure financial gold mine. Add to that the fact that financial literacy isn't even taught in public schools, let alone advanced finance strategies. Now, I know for a fact that certain large industries, big pharma, for example, have paid full-time lobbyists in Washington, D.C. and contribute to political campaigns in return for favorable legislation. Well, the banking industry is one of those giant industries, and those who practice the infinite banking, tax-free cash growth warehouse strategy cut the banks out of their personal finance regimen for most of the things the banks make their most of their money from, such as personal and business loans. So do you think the banking industry is in favor of large portions of the population learning and practicing infinite banking and cutting them out? Or more likely, that the banks are in favor of keeping this strategy away from the population? And believe it, the banks not only know the strategy, they practice it big time. Do you know about BOLI, B-O-L-I? That stands for bank-owned life insurance. Banks put a whole lot of their money into whole life insurance policies so that they will safely grow cash values and have access to the money without losing the compounding growth. If you do just a little bit of research on it, you will find that a large percent of bank assets are in BOLI contracts. Anyway, it is for all these reasons that infinite banking and the tax-free cash growth warehouse is not widely known, nor is it likely ever to become widely known. Banks want you to borrow money from them and let them use your money, which is what they do when you deposit your money in savings accounts, etc., and let them earn high interest on your money while they charge you fees for holding your money and pay you practically nothing in interest, or actually nothing, and charge you high amortized interest on loans. Now, that's the mainstream way. Infinite banking is far off the beaten path and offers a very large reward to those who find it and who are wise enough to put it into use for their and their family's benefit. If you have enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to this channel. Also, please post your questions and comments here. For now, aloha and mahalo for watching.